Yes, everybody. Welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV, the therapy edition. We are here once again after a 2-0 defeat to Chelsea. And yeah, the doctors are in session. The therapy will begin. Just another depressing day, eh, Si?
Oh man, I'm just tired. I'm tired of Tottenham. Like the quality and of the team, the depth of the team. It's just not good enough. Like it's been like 4 or 5 years now, and like you go back to the Leicester game. I was saying it before even our great 2 goals at the end, which were fantastic. I'm not taking away from that game, but it's so clear as day that we are not up to scratch. I mean, I'll make this argument again. Top 4. It's always conversation about this 4th spot, and it literally could be any of the 3 teams, or maybe even 4. We're in a good position in the sense of the league, in the aspect that we played 19, we're on 36 points, a couple wins, we're right up there, of course. But we don't want to be playing this game anymore. We want to be, competing. We want to be energetic. We want to have actual games where we're fighting, we're driving, we've got quality. I'm just not seeing it, man. I'm just fed up with it. I'm so tired. Tiring Tottenham.
That's a apt name for us. So yeah, should we start the therapy session?
Please.
All right, let's bring on the first caller, and we got a great first caller to kick it off. We have George to come on the show, so let's get George on. You might want your headphones on.
Yeah, I was going to lip read actually.
How are we doing, George? You all right, buddy?
Apparently you can't hear you.
We can't hear you, George. Have you muted? 1 second, George, because we can't hear you. Can people still hear us?
No, everyone. No, we can't hear what you're saying.
Okay, George, let's just see what we can sort out because we can't hear you. Oh, there. Now we can hear. Hey, we can now hear George. Modern technology.
Hi, you guys.
We
How
thought
you
Daniel
doing,
Levy
buddy?
got to you as well as they did us earlier.
Guys, I can't hear you.
You can't hear us now. What? Honestly, what is going on here, George? You can't hear me?
No. That's better. I can hear you.
There
I
we
heard
go.
something there.
Yeah, Daniel Levy's attacking the systems, mate.
Yeah.
Any Enoch out will not be allowed on this channel.
So,
Yeah,
George, what's your thoughts on the game and the performance today?
I was watching you guys. I mean, I'm a very bad watcher of Tottenham on TV. If I'm not at the game and I can't shout and be active, I struggle. So I was watching you guys on the watch along, and I have to say, a great job. It was
Cheers, buddy.
fantastic. Also, just wanted to say to Brian, well done for the demonstration, the protest outside
Thank you,
of
sir.
Hotspur Way. It's so needed, and good on you. I have full respect for doing that, and making your voice be heard. But it's look, you guys have hit the nail on the head. We keep on saying it. There's a lack of quality all over that field. Today's result really didn't surprise me, even after the Leicester game. If anything, really, the Leicester game made me feel more concerned because I mean, the Leicester were a depleted side, and very sort of a few basic errors, and we end up conceding 2 goals. I mean, what's a side like Chelsea going to do to us? It was going to happen. The officials obviously didn't help us with that goal, disallowing that goal, which, as far as I was concerned, was a perfectly good goal. You can't just touch a player, and they go down like that, and you disallow somebody else's goal. I mean, it's just pathetic. It's a hard one, and we're going to have to swallow it because it's Chelsea, because it's a London derby. They've beaten us 4 times this season so far. Just hope we don't get them in the FA Cup, because the same will happen again with that team.
Correct. What were your any standout players for you today?
From what I've seen of the game here and there, I would struggle really. I mean, Harry seemed quite sort of active up there for the bits and pieces that I was sort of watching. Bergwijn, I was a little disappointed. I didn't see too much of Cess. I was hoping we were going to see a bit of a performance down that left wing, similar to what he did at Liverpool. But you only had to have a look at what we had on the bench, what they had on the bench, the changes that we had in us. It's really difficult to try and say, look, who was your standout player when you've just gone down 2-0 again. At a push, I would probably say Harry Kane for just getting on to and just trying to make things work. But I'm struggling. I really am. I think Simon said it. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth when you said it. When you said it earlier, I'm just fed up of playing this team now. It's you almost predict what's going to happen, and Brian's also right. I mean, let's just give them the points at the start of the season and avoid the injuries.
Yep.
I don't think I think they bully us quite a lot. They're a lot more astute than we are, in terms of getting in our heads. We've seen it year after year. That Harry Kane goal situation is clearly annoying, but I think from that second half, it's really disappointing the way that we kind of came out, in the sense that we didn't kind of pinpoint that Chelsea are going to start obviously coming back into the game, because I don't think either team really played massively well in the first half, and we to be fair, I think we had the game plan quite solidified in that first half. But we come out in the second half, the ZH goal comes in, and then it's just like the players just switch off. It's like, oh, we don't know how to deal with this, and then all of a sudden the mistakes come in. I'm tired of it, George. I'm tired of this mediocre mindset and lack of ability, lack of mentality to pull ourselves up from something. The only player that can do that is arguably Harry Kane. He's probably fed up anyway. Hugo, our captain's not one to be shouting and stuff. I just don't see any leadership, any quality. Like, George, where do we go from here? Because it's not just this game. I'm not just saying it because we lost and we're down. I was saying it in the Leicester game. I've said it pretty much every game. We need some decisive changes in this team. And I just, for one, cannot figure out how we're going to do it, because we never do. But what do you think about this, George? Where do Tottenham go? How do we get this sorted? Because I can't see Conte wanting to last much longer under this nonsense.
Before you answer that question, George, just putting it on top of all, what you got to remember, we were talking about Harry Kane. Harry Kane, we need to show that we're matching his ambition. And let's face it, we've only got this window to do it, because in the summer, it can come up again. It will be like, oh, don't worry, we're going to buy this time. We're in a very bad situation, because we're talking about, and George brought up how well Harry Kane performed, and he looked, or he's the one that he picked out. This window isn't just to bring players in that we desperately need to support Conte. This is to literally show Kane that we're matching his ambition, and we know where this is.
Yeah, look, so okay, answering both those points, try sort of at the same time. So yeah, we've got to show ambition. Let's face it, we are now back where we were, I would say, in the mid 2000s. I would say maybe a little bit further back than that. And what we've got is a diamond with Harry Kane. So where do we now go from this position? Well, without the money to actually invest in a team, in personnel, in order to show the ambition to Harry Kane, he's going to go. Now that gives us two choices. The first is sell Harry Kane and use that money to invest in the team, or into a new squad, which in today's day and age, unfortunately, selling a player for 100 million is not really going to get you the quality to be able to compete with Chelsea. So therefore, you've got to go back down the flow chart and say, well, find the money to invest in the team. Unless ENIC and Daniel Levy really, really want to do that, it's a struggle seeing how we turn this around and whether we are still going, whether we're going to realistically still be competing for top four, or whether we are going to be like we were in those years, sort of trying to crack the case, keeping in the UEFA Cup, and sort of just trying at some point by luck, maybe in a transitional year, to get into top four. Looking at the landscape now is very different to even when Poch came on board. So back when Poch came on board, we sold Gareth Bale, who was at the time the most expensive signing, who was only then matched by Neymar. Now it's not unusual for a player to be sold for 50, 60 million, pounds, as a decent player, not as a world beater. As a world beater, you're looking sort of maybe 90, 100 million upwards. So to say that, we're going to sell Harry Kane in order to get the funds in to create a new side, it's just not going to happen with the amount of changes that we need to make. So ENIC either needs to front up the money and find the money from somewhere, or unfortunately, we're going to be in this situation and having these conversations a lot more often.
Exactly. I'm just gonna, before we go on with the questions, we're just gonna comment on a super chat that's come in, and it's from none other than the myth, the legend, the superstar, the person that has been missing for a couple of months, my best mate Bob Spur, who has put severe, obvious, the best way to explain what we saw today. Again, thank you for all the love and support from all. Humbled. Now, I've got the honour of hopefully being able to see him tomorrow, and I honestly, I cannot wait. That's why I'm not protesting tomorrow. Bob will always win. It's great to see him back in the Super Chats. Everyone get over to his channel, because Bob Spur will be returning, hopefully sooner than we thought. It's going to take a little while for him to recuperate and get back up to strength, but it's great to see him, and I'm sure the love's been said from him again in all the chats I can see. This man is so special to everyone, and it's just great to see him. And yeah, getting back to what you were saying, George, it's like you said, it's every year that this goes on. Here we are again, having to deal with the same thing, listening to the same excuses. And you look at it, there's no way, and this isn't, well, it is a criticism of him, we're not catching up with any of these big four, the Man Cities or whatever, whilst he's here. There's no doubt whatsoever. But how these scouts, and I mean, we were talking off air as well, what is Paratici here to do? He's not got apparently he was in charge of footballing, all footballing matters. Well, we can clearly see he's not. We can clearly see the same thing happening again. I mean, how is it allowed?
We've got to, first of all, okay, Paratici's come in. The damage was done before Paratici. So there is a. This is like trying to steer the Titanic now, or let's say a massive ship, and you've got to try and turn it around. Well, something that size is going to take a while. The size of the task is considerable for where we want to be. So if we want to be mid-table, and sort of, making news with your occasional sort of 3-2 win against Leicester in the last dying embers of a game, then we're there. You know, we're there. And this is partly what I fear, because the elephant in the room here is the stadium. And I say that it's the elephant in the room is because we wanted the new stadium for so long, and we had the anticipation of wanting this new stadium to house 62,000 fans and everything else. Now, that was used as an excuse for so long for not investing in the team. Now, again, we say that the reason that they said that was they supposedly there is a risk involved in investing in the team because of the large capital outlay that they were making. There is no team in that top 7, 8, especially Tottenham Hotspur, that's a risk. They have a guaranteed fan base there that spends an unbelievable amount of money, even where we are at the moment. You know, we spend a hell of a lot of money on the club, on merchandising, on everything else, considering there's been no success at the club for donkey's years. So there is no actual risk there. They know that they've got that in the bank. So investing at that time was really, let's face it, Poch was doing a good job.
Yeah.
Why do we need to spend the money?
Yeah.
And that's where the incompetence of the board and of Levy starts creeping in, because they let the whole thing deteriorate to such an extent where we find ourselves so far behind now that it's going to be a real struggle. So it's really difficult. We now want to watch the team play. We go and spend our money to watch the team play, to be in the stadium, and it's, you know, unless you stop buying the merchandise and they realize that they've got to actually have some success in order to move us forward, we're going to struggle with this board and with these owners to do anything. That they only want us to be in the Premier League to showcase this new stadium for their events and their leisure facilities, and we're the ones that are paying for it ultimately. So it's the supporters who have paid for it. They've done all of this on the cheap. They've managed to buy and create a whole new purpose-built facility off the backs of the supporters. And that's what's so sad, that now really we're left with a mammoth task. And unless Paratici can come up with some real signings over the next 6 months, look, it's January. We're going to struggle to do anything. We're going to be realistic. Unless they can do something in the summer, and unless they can convince Conte to stay, I think we're going to be in for a little bit of hurt over the next few years. That I think that's just an unfortunate reality now.
Correct, George. Well, it's not really much to talk about apart from what can we say, George? It's always great to see you, buddy.
The main thing that needs to be done is we need to have a playmaker in the centre of the field. If they don't find that playmaker in order to create in the centre, it's all well and good saying that, you know, we sort of fell apart. But the reason we fell apart was we were bullied and we were pushed. And the reason we were pushed is Chelsea knew that if they did push, we didn't have an answer. And that would happen in any team, in any league, whether you're talking about kids football or whether you're talking about a Champions League final or a World Cup final. If a team feels that they can come forward and there is not going to be a risk of you know, to them, unfortunately, you know, it's the gulf is big. So unless you get a playmaker in the centre there that's going to be able to put their foot on the ball and create, unfortunately, again, we're going to see these sorts of results, you know, more frequently.
Correct, George. Thank you for coming on, buddy. And like I said, I need to get you on Tottenham on tour very shortly. I'll get in touch with you via social media. We'll get you on, buddy. But yeah, George, thanks for coming on, mate. And let's just hope when we meet again after the Brighton game, we're celebrating going into the 5th round of the Cup.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks,
Come on, you Spurs.
Made some good points there. I think one of the key things for me as well is the next 5 years you're going to see, well, if Newcastle stay up and everything, you're going to see them increasing with ammunition. Southampton as well, new owners. Like, this isn't going to stop, mate. We're going to be... I think what's happening is Inica's sitting there. They're getting the money regardless, mate. They're getting the money regardless from the Premier League, TV rights, this and the other. They don't need to worry about paying buying players, because they know like City and maybe Liverpool are so advanced. What's the point in us spending 200-300 million? Because they know that it's going to take a few years for us to generate some result out of that.
Yep.
They're more than happy to sit back, let the cinema money come in, let the money come in from the stadium events and stuff like that. Why on earth would they? Why on earth would they change this at all?
But forget the cinema events as well. Upcoming. Where's the champ? Where's these 2 Super Bowl game money gone? Where's the Anthony Joshua money gone? Where's the training ground sponsor or the training kit sponsorship money gone?
Back pockets, mate.
All coming in, and apparently we spend we can spend what we bring in. Well, money's come in, nothing's going out. In fact, we've had the privilege of having for the people that pay the food and beverage raise 7%. But yeah, that's the logic of this football club. But let's get on. Wes the King. It's time for the King. How you doing, Wes?
How you guys doing?
Hey, brother.
What's your thoughts on what we've just had to witness?
Something I expected us to do. We're now on the level of Chelsea. That's just what it is. Like everybody should have expected it, because I know I expected it, especially when I saw how we set up our defense and how we set the lineup. I think they had Dyer on their right center back side. I already knew then that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. He needed to be in the central center back position. I don't know why they had Sanchez in the middle. Sanchez can't pick a pass. Sanchez has been, in the beginning of the season, was playing great at the right center back side. I don't understand why they switched that up and had Dyer on the right, but it clearly did not work. And Tanganga as well. Right after he got the yellow card, that was it. He was going to get beat every single time, every single time. And I think I'm pretty much done with Tanganga. I don't need to see no more from him. He needs to be loaned out immediately. It's the first team that wants him. If they want him now, because it's clear they were just attacking that side the whole game, and you knew it was gonna. Once he got the yellow card, you knew that they were just gonna favor that side the rest of the game, and they did. And then one of the goal chances was pretty much when he got beat by his man, and it led to attacking chance for Chelsea, and we're right back to what we were doing. So it's something I completely expected. What we definitely need a central midfielder who can pass, who can set up and create chances for us. We definitely need to get in that Adama Traore immediately. We need to get that deal done. I say this week, I will hope. But this board is ridiculous. I don't understand why we're 23 days in, we have not made not one signing, and we're struggling making a 20 million pound signing. I don't understand that. We can't afford 20 mil, and we're supposed to be worth.
One thing that concerns me is they've had 6-7 months to plan a strategy for a transfer window, and the best we've come up with is Traore. I mean, could no one else have done that? I mean, I could have done that. I could have gone, what's a good player from Wolves? Well, probably Traore. Okay, brilliant. But is it really that difficult to pick out Traore as a transfer target? I'm talking about like a proper scouting network, and I know I'm sure Paratici is working on that, but it's just farcical. I'm so tired of that ridiculous conversation. It's just mental, isn't it? It's just mental that we're supposed to be this growing club, this exciting club, and we can't do simple things like that. This literally 6-7 months of planning, we've come up with Traore.
Well, you know what it is? Manchester United call their stadium the Theatre of Dreams. We need to call ours the Theatre of Lies, because that's all it's been built on, a theatre of lies. But Wes, any positives or any players you want to discuss during the game today?
I think I mainly put out probably Tanganga. He was the worst player on the pitch. Positives, Bergwijn, Kane were fine. They did what they could and what they had. And I think we said this a couple of games ago. Whenever Kane has to drop deep, we're pretty much in trouble. If Kane has to drop deep, we're pretty much in trouble. Every time it happens, it means we're on the fence, and we're pretty much like about to get our behinds kicked, or we already have let in a couple goals already. It's just we need signings, to be honest with you. And the fact that we have this beautiful stadium and we don't have the team to match it. We have this billion-dollar stadium with the team that doesn't even represent it, to be honest with you. But, it's just there for show for Enoch and Levy to get their pockets full. And we can't just keep on going at the players and how they're playing. This comes down to who brings the money in to get those players on the pitch, and the person who scouted them and brought them to and thought it was a good idea to buy them. And that's what it comes down to. I think Paratici, he needs a little bit more time, but it's clear he's not the one over this no more. It's clear it went back to, it's just like a faulty position. I guess he's just there to say that he's the director of football. But we all know it's Daniel Levy who has to allow him to have the funds. So this goes down to Daniel Levy. I say we keep protesting. I say we really start pressuring him, because this is ridiculous. Like, there's no reason we should be struggling paying $20 million for a player. Like,
I mean,
there's no reason.
It is, George, as well, and I completely agree with what George said as well. I mean, I think the main thing we need to buy right now is creativity. We need someone that can create. Realistically, if you were in charge now and you could go out and buy some creativity, what kind of player are you looking at?
Ooh, I don't know what player. I can't name any names. The only one that's clear that's available immediately off a free transfer is pretty much Eriksson, but Eriksson's now going to freaking Brentford most likely now. But I can say the qualities of the player we need. I don't know what player. We always, the rumor one's been Kessie, Weston McKennie, but Weston McKennie kind of does the same thing Skip and Højbjerg does. He's not really a creative attacking midfielder who can score. He's not one of those type of players just yet. I think he can build into that player later on, but not now. He'll be pretty much another Skip or Højbjerg if we have gotten him. Kessie, he's a level above, I think, Skip and Højbjerg. He gives a little bit more quality with more scoring and everything and being in attacking positions. But then again, he's still not that creative type player, really, to me. I don't know what player is really out there to get that. It's hard to come by those type of players, especially right now. A lot of the ones we know of by name, they're all pretty much locked down on contracts, and teams are not going to give them up if we're not paying a significant fund for them. So we're in a very interesting position when it comes to that, when we're looking for that type of player. But we need somebody who has like tremendous feet, has a touch on them, can kind of go through little intricate passes, can pretty much work with minimum space. Because that's the problem I'm seeing a lot. A lot of our players cannot work with minimum space. They struggle with the foot, with their foot on the ball. They really do. Sultan Ganga, his touches are very far away from him. Same with Session. Session, he had a chance on the left side where he made a good run, but he couldn't keep the ball down at all and control it enough for him to make that shot. And he ended up making like a bounce shot that ended up, of course, going wide. So we have a lot of that kind of players that are just not at the level. I think the other one, we got a young player in Hill that can kind of do that. I think if he was a little bit stronger, I think he would pretty much be the ideal player we put in that central attacking midfielder position, because he's so technically sound. It's just that he doesn't have the strength out there to really last the whole Premier League type of game. But I think later on he can probably become that. But that's the thing we keep on doing too. We keep on getting youth players who could become that, but they're not that just now. We gotta hope and groom them and hope they can be that later on. And that's another problem we have with our scouting system. It's to me, I don't have too much to say about it, because I don't have any names out there that I can just think of off the bat we can go after. We're not paying a very good amount of money. We can't pay $20 million for a Traore. I don't know how we're going to get an attacking midfielder of actual quality that can really change our offensive approach around.
This is the thing.
Conte is. A lot of people in the chat are blaming Conte for this. I mean,
No.
No, I'm not having that, because I think our game plan was solid from the start, but then the mistakes kick in, right?
Yeah, let's not do that. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about us going on Conte at all. This is not all Conte's fault. Who's the actual person, like Brian's been saying, is Daniel Levy. That is the problem. Come on, guys.
We point the fingers at the manager every time, isn't it?
We got a world-class manager. Yeah. We cannot keep on blaming it on the manager. We just cannot. We cannot do that.
Let's say like
Sorry, Sergio, what it is as well. When people go for me And I must admit, it's getting less and less because people are seeing what I've been saying and realising it's okay to blame the manager, but we've been through 13 of them. It's okay to blame the director of football. We've been through 5 of them. It's been okay to all of these things. It's okay for people to say this occasionally. But when it happens time after time after time and again, the same story keeps repeating itself, and there's one common denominator that's been there the whole goddamn time. When do you say, do you know what? It can't be such a coincidence that this keeps happening every single time. Even when we're pre-Poch, even when Martin Jol was changing things, even when Harry Redknapp was doing what he was doing, every single time it's the same thing. How many times? That's the thing that gets me. I understand if we just had a brand new, if it was a clean slate and it was our first manager, whatever, then you could blame the manager.
Yeah.
But it's the scouting network. And people go, oh, it's not Levy, it's the scout. Who hires the scouting network? You don't think that Levy speaks to someone before he hands over 60 million for a Dembele, but turns around now and says, well, what the hell did you do with my money? If this had been ENIC and it was their people that were purchasing companies and they squandered this money, they are gone. They are gone. See you later. I'll get someone else in. But this keeps happening, and there's a common denominator, and I don't know what has to happen before everyone realises that. Now, I'm not saying everyone needs to jump onto my bandwagon, and I'm completely right, but come on, just look at the evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I still think we can get top 4. I think like it's very open. No one's guaranteed it, and I think our fixtures are in our favour for the remaining games of the season. I'm not saying that our team is top 4 quality, but neither, I believe, are Arsenal, United, or indeed West Ham at this stage in time. Do you think that, obviously, it's easy for us to be angry now. Like, I don't think, as much as I love saying we'll win 3-1 and stuff for the game, as I said earlier, the reality is it's always difficult for us at Chelsea. They always outdo us in some capacity, okay? So we could arguably have written this game off anyway. Stelios made a good point in the last game, which I was sat with him, and he said, like, winning this Leicester game puts the pressure off the Chelsea game, because if we draw it, we lose it, we win it, whatever happens, we've got a really good 3 points here, and Chelsea's difficult, right? So that has happened. This game has happened. It's not gone our way. But we've got, I think, Southampton at home, Wolves at home, City away, and then Leeds away. So arguably out of those 4 games, I would hopefully think that at least we could get maybe 3 wins out of that. I think we could do that. Southampton's going to be very tricky, of course. Do you think that we can still get top 4? Not forget the quality aspect, because this is obviously something we've been addressing for the last 5-7 years. It's not new. But out of the teams that we got, do you think we can still get top 4 irrespective of this game today?
Cutting cables.
Oh, okay.
Me.
Oh, was that you? I thought that was Ben or Simeon. Brian has been taken away. We haven't got it on the screen.
I'm just trying to get things going.
Wes, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, we can't hear anything.
Oh,
Sorry
okay.
about this. We are really no.
We can see, but we cannot hear.
We can see his lips moving, but we can't. We do apologise for these technical issues. Guys, can you hear me and Simon, or can you hear me right now? Okay, you can hear us. Okay. Wes, can you speak? Just see if we can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We're back, people.
Good.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
So how far
No,
were
you're
you into that tirade?
So
Into a cut?
in a nutshell, do you think that we can still get top 4? Maybe generally around the existing team that we have, irrespective of signings coming in and out, and bear in mind as well the other teams' performances around us. Taking Chelsea out is obviously a difficult game, but do you think we can still get top 4? And if so, why? And if not, why?
I think we can. If we get our Traore, that work done this week, Romero comes back, and when we get Son back in, I think February, we're going to have a little bit of a stronger team. We'll have a good, different outlook. Conte will have more options. Right now, he's very, very limited with a lot of his options right now, especially off the bench. If he can get a couple of those players back in, get them back in shape a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully the international break doesn't do what happened last time with the international break. If we can get a good amount of our good or like very strong like players back, I think we have a way better outlook when we're going against more of the harder teams. I think we do need to get a couple more results against one of the more higher level teams. We're gonna have to be honest with you. We're gonna at least be one up on against the ones that we're competing for the fourth place. But I think we got games in hand on West Ham. I think we're a better team than Arsenal, to be honest with you. But I think we still got a chance for top four. And if we do worse, it'll be fifth at most, to be honest with you. But I don't see us going any lower than that, to be honest with you. I don't think Conte would have us. I just don't think so. No.
It's something I just want to bring up now, and I've seen this mentioned before, and I need to address this. There was a comment here by Neo1972, and I keep getting this thrown at me, where it says, Levy and ENIC out for who exactly? Now, listen, and this isn't at you, Neo, this is at all people that ask this question. It's not the supporters' jobs to find chairman. Chelsea didn't go, oh, do you know what, Chelsea fans? Let's get together. I really want that Roman Abramovich. He's doing loads of bits of business. Oh, I really want him. He could do good for the club. He came to the club. Manchester City did not sit there saying, oh, who can we get to buy our club? I think we can get a country to buy our club and invest into our club. Newcastle did not sit down and say, do you know what? Let's get in the Saudi Arabian family that own the country. It's not our responsibility. There are people out there, billionaires that we don't even know about, looking at the club. It is not the Tottenham Hotspur fans' responsibility to find owners. The people who are out there is whether they come and will meet Levy's demand. It's not Tottenham Hotspur fans' job to find the owners. It's Tottenham Hotspur fans' jobs to show their frustrations at the way the club is being run, the highest price season ticket, the highest price kit, hikes on food and beverages, everything going on with the club, nothing being invested onto the pitch. Nothing being invested onto the pitch. If they were invested onto the pitch, if we sign Vlahovic right now, if we sign James Ward-Prowse, and I'm just picking players now, right now, Spurs fans would pay that money and wouldn't care because they can see what's going on the pitch. Nothing is getting them back on the pitch, and when it does get back on the pitch, it's cheap imitations of players we want. So it's the fans' responsibility to stand up and voice our concern and anger at the way our beloved football club is run. The game is about glory. It is not our job to have a business degree and look for these people. They are out there. It's not Spurs fans' responsibility. And Neo, like I said, this isn't directed at you. This question is being said by many people all over social media, not just at me, but loads of people. It is not our responsibility to find them. It is our responsibility as a club and as a fan base to voice our anger. Everyone is quick to voice it at Sanchez if he fucks up. Everyone's quick to do it at Winks or whoever. Everyone's quick to do it at the manager. Why is the chairman not allowed to have anything bad said about him? After 21 years of broken promises, lies, and a stadium that can hold concerts, has 2 pitches, and the longest goal line bar in Europe that fills up beers from the bottom. Sorry, Wes, I just needed to get that out there, mate. It's literally, again, that question where we're expected to find the fans. I just don't get it. I just don't get it, Wes. So yeah, just before we ask you another question, but Bob has put another comment in saying the only reason we're in the top 4 shout is due to the lack of quality at Arsenal, West Ham, Manchester United, Leicester, and we have poo around us. Yeah, he's right. That's why. I mean, I said on a show that the boys did with We Are Tottenham TV when they're talking about the top 4, and I said with this squad we will not get top 4. We will not, because people keep saying we need our first team 11 to be fit the whole way through. Not only do they need to be 100% fit, but they need to be 100% on fire the whole time, and it's just not feasible. Wes, do you think we're getting top 4?
Yeah. So like I said before, I think we can, but we're gonna have to get Romero. Gonna have to come back soon. We got to definitely get the Adama Traore deal done because I think he can be amazing for us for chance creation wise on the right wing back role. And of course, when we get Son back, that's another option for the left sided of the pitch. It's and if those players can hold out and we can keep at least our mainstay in the starting 11 at least healthy for the rest of the season, at least most of the season, then yeah, I think we can. But I think the worst we can do is probably fifth, if that does happen. But I think we still got a chance to top four. We got games in hand on West Ham. I think we're better than Arsenal. And they already scared of us. They already canceled their game against us. So that tells you. But we still got some things we can still do to get to the top four. But is it slim still? If we lose games we're not supposed to lose, hey, that's us out. And that's kind of what happened last year. We lost games that we weren't supposed to lose to, or we draw games we're not supposed to draw. If that kind of stuff keeps happening, which happens a lot, then that's going to mess up our chances. But if we have a chance to take that fourth spot, we got to make sure we win the games we're at least supposed to win. At least win the game. At least win the games that we're supposed to win. That's at least what I said.
West, my friend, thank you for calling in, and hopefully we'll see you soon. I really appreciate your answers and the honesty and everything that you said. But hopefully we'll have you back on soon. But thanks for calling in, buddy.
Always a pleasure, West, brother.
Yep. Come on, you Spurs. Come on.
Come on, you
Spurs. So, yeah, mate, I mean, let me ask you a question then. So, what's the incentive for Daniel Levy and ENIC to sell the club right now? Because they're making a substantial amount of money, really, irrespective of the debts of the club. How do you think that we pursue a mechanism to force a change? Because it's not like we can go, right, Levy out, and then we're just stuck with no one. Like, a new chairman has to come in or whatever. But we're still going to have possibly the same situation of the ENIC ownership in general, of someone on a boat across the other side of the world. So what the hell are we supposed to do? Because they're making money. They're making a lot of money. Whether we're in the Champions League or not, they are making money. This stadium is making money, like millions upon millions per month, per week. It's making food, whatever, shirt sales. £80 is absolutely disgusting for a working person's game. £80 for a shirt is disgusting. But that is the club that we are at right now. So what is the answer? Because I can't see them selling. If I was told that I'm guaranteed a load of money and it doesn't really matter about the performance of the club and the fans can go mental or not, because the tickets will be sold regardless. You'll get fans from all over the world still coming. The loyal fan base, in my opinion, the legacy of Tottenham, the tradition of Tottenham is gone. It's long gone. The soul of the club is not there anymore. And I'm not just speaking after a loss to Chelsea. I've felt this a long time. It's just a glass building to me. It's not like the old stadium. The smell of the grass, the passion, the fans, the energy. It's gone, mate. It's gone. That is gone. We're in a new transitional perspective of football right now as a business. It's been a business for years. As a business, Tottenham is working. So how do we stop this as legacy fans? How do we do it?
We've said it before, but it's putting it into practice. And the way you do it is obviously you hit them in the money. Now, I've said to loads of people, if I had a season ticket at Spurs, I'd still be renewing, because at one point these people were going. At one point these people are going. There's people like Grandpa. There's people that have had season tickets for generations that work hard and football is their release. They shouldn't stop buying their season tickets because it's going to be damn hard to get it back when you lose.
Yeah.
The one thing you can do is don't buy beer after beer in the stadium. Get one, get two, whatever. Just don't spend loads in there. Don't go into the shop. Don't spend money. Don't spend money. Literally, the only chance and the only time they will listen, if you stop buying the kits and everything, Nike will have a quota that they need to hit. Yeah. If you're not hitting the quota, Nike will be like, what the hell's going on here? If there's the Levy out chance in the game, in the ground, and people come in for corporate, and all they hear is the toxicity, and I don't want to see it get toxic, but they hear, we want Levy out, and they're whining and dining clients. They're paying good money to come and wine and dine and give them a great experience. It's not a good experience. The only chance that these people listen is either A, when Levy out gets chanted, and then Anudo gets sacked, or if they get hit in the pocket. That's the only time they listen. So go and spend money at Chicken or the Pie and Mash shop or the hundreds of other food eateries that are on the high street. Go to the pubs and have a good few beers and maybe have one in the club. Don't stay after the game, especially after we lose, and carry on spending, because it all goes to them And once again, no money gets invested back to the club. So it's cutting them off at the source. That's the only way. The only way.
Adam, welcome. Your thoughts, please, my friend, on the performance today. Do you think as well that Harry Kane situation, the goal, there should have been, in my opinion, and I'm sure Brian agrees as well, that could have been a pivotal point, right? But in general, the reflection on that and also the game as a whole. Welcome, Adam.
How you doing, guys?
What's up, Adam, brother?
Yeah, you can hear me okay, yeah?
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Just checking. Yeah, look, I don't feel...
Sorry, Adam, I've just been asked in the back end, can you just turn your mic volume up a little bit? We can hear you, it's just quite quiet.
Is it too low? Can you hear me
Yeah,
better
that's
now?
perfect. That's fine. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'll just make sure that it's definitely my... Yeah, it is this mic. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel so disenchanted as a result of this game because it's not one that we should have anticipated going in and winning. At the end of the day, like I said this when after we had that amazing victory at Leicester, I said, guys, please don't... Like, fans should not be disheartened if we go into Chelsea and lose. And because, I mean, even though I understand that Chelsea were on a really bad run, they've not been picking up as many points. In the last 9 games, they haven't picked up anywhere near as many points as us, not half as many points as us. But at the end of the day, it's Spurs versus Chelsea at the Bridge. There's a history there. There's going to be a certain level of an understanding from the players that it's an uphill battle. There's going to be an understanding. There's going to be, the players are playing with a certain level of fear going against a team like Chelsea. At the end of the day, what we have to understand is they had the superior team. Yeah. And yes, what we can absolutely turn and say that things should have been done up to this point where our team should be stronger, and we know that, right? But what I will say is if we are to be, if I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say that there is potential that the appointing of Paratici and Conte was a sign from Levy and his ilk that they've decided to actually have ambition, then I still maintain that if that is the case, we should still be optimistic about where we are and what we've done since Conte's come in, because the game today, we did get screwed by the referee as far as that. I mean, it was ridiculous that that Kane goal didn't stand. And then who knows what way the game would have gone otherwise. But at the same time, we should have gone into that game knowing that it was slim to no chance of winning it, and that's what happened. And we're going now into Southampton and Wolves. We should be totally optimistic that we're going to beat those two at home. Do you know what I mean? And we're still in a position where we have. I don't care what anyone says about Manchester United. We have the best shot at 4th spot of anyone.
Well, we certainly have the games in hand for it as well, Adam.
For sure. We have the games in hand. We've got better performances. We've only lost one game with Conte in charge in the Premier League, and it was against Chelsea, and we always lose at the Bridge, right? It's a fortress as far, they are our bogey side. They are, I don't know, I think one of you referred to them as our kryptonite. It's absolutely true. Yeah. So I don't feel, by the time that game was over, like my heart rate hadn't raised at all. And by the time it was finished, it was like, right, okay, that was what we anticipated would happen.
It wasn't a surprise. Unfortunate.
Yeah. But look, Harry Kane is playing fantastically well again. Dyer was out with an injury for a while, came back in and played a stormer as far as I'm concerned. I thought Dyer was exceptional. So, and I believe that we will get players in before the end of the transfer window, and we still have Sonny to come back, who again for me is just the hero of the team.
I hope so.
So you know what, Adam, you've had there's a couple of super chats, but the last one's for you. So the first one's from Scorpions for Life, which is how is Brighton always outplaying Chelsea? Yeah, every time we play them, we're so scared and bottle it every time. Do Brighton have better players? Then we've got another one from Rambro, I believe, just to get through these for $5. Big up, Dago. Oh, thanks, man. The Don. Chelsea and Man City are masters of the dark arts of the professional or tactical foul. What about us? No top 4. And then for you, and I'm really going to try. The Americanca said Adam Cahill, always positive in big, bold capital letters. Love him. So you're getting some love. Adam, so yeah, you think so? Who do you think? I mean, Adama looks like it's going to happen. Who else do you think? all be coming in. What do you reckon?
I can see us definitely getting. I would imagine Adama is a sure thing, and I can see us getting at least one more. If we can, it would be amazing if we were able to do the Ndombele Wijnaldum swap. That would be incredible. There are other options available to us, and I think that even if they're waiting, like we were told when we got Paratici in, this is what he does. He does all the moving and shaking, and then at the last minute he decides what he wants, and he goes boom and gets what he wants. So it's like, right, that's fine. I have no issue considering the way we're performing at the moment. If all of our work is done on deadline day, I really don't care, because as soon as that gets done and the team gets reinforced, we'll be even more superior than we already are, and I genuinely believe we are the fourth best team in the league already. So I think that the transfer window is going to make a significant difference, even though we're already in the strongest position.
Yeah.
The three comments that you read out there, Brian. Yep. So the last guy I really appreciate. Thanks so much, man. I think the positivity is where we should be at the moment. There's no point as Spurs fans. We've had so many periods in our history where we've had reason to be blue instead, instead of white. At the moment, we should be absolutely emphatic about the situation we're in and just enjoy this ride while we have it, because hopefully, Conte will stay with us for a while, but we don't know how long we got this guy, and he's the reason for my optimism at the moment. The guy who the second comment was what?
Let me get round bros up again. Talking about the dark arts,
the
dark arts, which is so true. We just don't have it in us, like Mourinho said.
But you say, look, we don't have it in us. Okay, great, that's awesome. I don't want to be a dark arts team. I think that yes, absolutely. There's the teams that do it, they seem cool and everything like that. But I just feel like, when Mourinho was giving out to our guys because we're the good guys, I love that we're the fucking good guys. I'm sorry. I get that actually means a lot to me as a Spurs fan. When we are doing well, we do well, and we're the good guys. We're not pulling shit like what Thiago Silva did today. Do you know what I mean? Like, Kane has had his moments in the past where he's kind of tried to pull a fast one, but for the most part, we're the good guys, and I like that. I think that the fact that you've got Man City and Chelsea, who are only where they are because of oil money and being sneaky, like, why would you want to be that team? I don't understand why you want to be that.
Don't get me wrong, I'm with you. I'd love it to be peak Poch when we're just blasting teams left, right, and centre. That's total football, what you love to see. But there's game management where there's times where you need to, if Chelsea are on top and you need to rattle them, you go in on them and you get them off their game. We're now in the time where dark arts has become something. I'm not saying we base our game around it, but you need to have some players in there that will stand up and put in a risky tackle, or will stand up and fight and just cause a menace just to slow the game down. It's a game where, unfortunately, this has crept in. And you sometimes need to do this. So, believe me, I'm with you, and I want to be able to play.
But we do have that. I think we do have that, though, without having to be sneaky pricks about it. You look at Oliver Skip, the kind of tackles that he's putting in and pulling, like he's tackling from behind, game after game after game, and he's not getting himself sent off. He's not even getting yellow cards. He's putting in these incredible tackles that nobody else could do without being risky enough to injure the player, and he's exceptional. Tanganga today, like the size of the guy, he does try and boss people, but he's not doing it to the point where they're trying to pull off sneaky things like what Thiago Silva did, where it's like, he bought his way out of a goal in underhanded fashion. We can be rough without being wicked. Do you know what I mean? That's just my opinion on who we should be. I think that's when we talk about the Spurs DNA. I like that we're the good guys. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel about it.
I like that. I think the key problem for me, especially when you're playing against Chelsea, is allowing them to get to you. Being the bigger person is usually a good philosophy, and I think if we had not, I could see it. When the goal went in, we started getting frustrated. We started giving away fouls, and that's the thing that disappoints me the most. Is then the mistakes kick in, and then you give them the opportunity to waste time. You give them the opportunity to wind you up further. Don't allow it. That's the thing that disappoints me the most. I totally agree that you can absolutely win these games over with a unique system and a unique way of playing and philosophy. But we do a better job than we used to of being more controlling in that aspect and not aggressive, but like exactly what you said, basically.
And I think we are going to upgrade on the sloppiness.
Yeah, but it's the sloppiness, is the mistakes that we give away, and that usually comes from especially frustrating situations. And it's almost like we're frustrated because we know we're doing them. We get frustrated with ourselves. Not me. I'm not. I am frustrated, but the players themselves. And it just goes in a circle, and that's when I just see the lack of maturity and leadership and mentality. That's why the game is the game. Like, Chelsea was going to be a difficult game all the time. We've won there once in like however many years. Like, it's not an expectation, but I want us to give it a go. And secondly, if we do come under the rough, like the Kane thing happened, okay, we need to react to that and be the better team, be the better people than that. And it just isn't happening. And that's where I'm like, we can be creative. We can have creative players come in and this and the other. But I want leaders. I want someone who's going to get this to the scruff of the neck and be like, okay, we're 1-0 down, guys. Chill out. Keep your heads at least. And when I mean keep your heads, I don't mean just like in terms of stupid fouls, but also the mistakes and everything, because that's when the mistakes come in. And then we conceded these 2 goals just from not concentrating, basically. And it just winds me up.
But those are the areas that I think are going to be improved on when we do actually get the new players in. Certainly the couple of players that we'll probably get now in the next few days. And then when we start the proper rebuild in the summer, which I'm sure will happen, that's when we'll start to fix those things. At the moment, we've got to rely on what Conte has consistently said in all of his interviews, is that he said, I'm here to improve the team. And it wasn't that he was never told, you're going to get a war chest. We know he said that many times, just to be sure to us, he was never going to get a war chest. So the new players that he'll want to get in will come. We can be sure of that. I don't believe that he was brought in to only to get chucked out or to walk away because he wasn't backed. Yeah. And then, Levy already knows the fans are pissed. So they're going to be pissed even worse if we bring in a guy like Conte only to let him slip through our fingers. So I believe that they will come, but he is improving the team that's already there. Look at the dynamic of the team at the moment. We are 10 times better than the team under Nuno. 10 times.
That wasn't hard. That wasn't hard. Adam, let me reverse this on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get the 3 players that you or whatever players, and we actually sign some pure quality, and I do mean quality. I don't mean just quantity, I mean quality. I will be the first one to go on all platforms. Okay, do you know what? He pulled it out of the bag. We had a good transfer. I will be the first one to come on and say, do you know what? Well done. You showed a bit of passion. And that's what you're saying. How are you going to feel if it's the other way round? And we don't get the players in that you think are coming, and we don't strengthen the squad?
In January or in the summer?
In January.
In January, if we only got Adama, for example, in January, I'd still be like, look, I believe that Conte can still get us to 4th with the players that we have. I really think that. So I want to see players coming in January, and I want to see a proper rebuild in the summer. But I think that this man I think that I feel like he's probably the second best manager in the world. I think only Klopp could possibly have a claim against him, because Pep has always just walked into teams that were already incredible. So I think that the worst thing we can do now, when we're in what I feel is one of the strongest positions we've ever been in, because the thing we have to remember as well is that when we were the Poch era was our best era since the 60s, and Levy was in charge then too. So as much I'm not a huge. It's not like I have no interest in being a Levy fanboy, but I definitely don't want to be in the position where I'm thinking just because he's in charge it means it's all doom and gloom. When I think that the evidence is there that we've brought in the people that can do the job that needs to be done, not only for the future, but with the players we have right now, which are significantly better. The main thing that I really want to get across is this Chelsea game was evidence that we do have fight in us, because we did bring it. You know what I mean? We did score first, and we were always. we were destined to lose that game. So I still think going into Southampton, going into Wolves, we should be sure of ourselves that we're going to knock those out of the park. especially as they're on home turf. And then it's going to get a little bit ropey once we start to get to Manchester City, Manchester United. But hopefully we will have the reinforcements by then. I am hoping that will be the case.
I need to come over to Ireland and breathe in some of that Irish air, because my God, the positivity. Yeah, I mean, listen, Adam. First half, I completely agree. We performed well. The word I used was disciplined. Disciplined. It was a disciplined performance and something to build on the second half. Without a doubt, that first half game, we were talking at halftime, me and Simon on the show, and it was okay. Let's see what we can do. And then the second half, it was polar opposite. Polar opposite for me, for what I was expecting for Tottenham to do. And of course, again, like you said, the first half there is definitely something to build on. But we just, against Chelsea and against these bigger teams, where it matters, we just don't have the quality or the mentality to get it over the line, in my opinion.
I think I think that that with Conte at the wheel, there's almost any team. There's practically no team that we can't go to and say we'll give them a good game apart from Chelsea. Chelsea are our kryptonite. We have to remember, guys. Every single team has one bogey side, right? Chelsea just happens to be ours. We don't have another bogey team, realistically. Where Everton couldn't buy a win against us if they wanted to, because we're their bogey team. So it's like when someone was, the first guy that you said sent in the super chat said Brighton can sort Chelsea out, but we can't. It's because Chelsea are not their bogey team. That is just the way football works, and we know that. That is it's the myth, but it's fairly true. We all have a side that we just can't take, and Chelsea happens to be ours.
So Adam, I'll just add on to that, because there's a super chat as well. First of all, we're saying it's refreshing from Victor. It's refreshing with some belief. I totally agree with what's being said. Levy and Enoch will back Conte. I am 100% certain. They are businessmen, and if you invest properly. Come on, you Spurs. So Victor is like I said, I do this because I have 14 years of blooming evidence from when I've been Levy out to say I've heard these new dawns, these new days, these coming on. But when you talk about Brighton, do you know what Brighton did? Brighton knew, and other teams like Burnley and other teams that picked up draws at Stamford Bridge, if you go for them, that's where they're weak and that's where they're vulnerable. Whereas when we come to play Chelsea, whether it's our bogey team or not, we're like, okay, we see these teams are going for the jugular, and their teams are not as good as ours. We don't go for the jugular. We sit back.
I get where you're coming from. I think there's a certain element of fear. When you have the history, we haven't beaten them at the bridge in 30 odd years, whatever it is. When it's steeped in that much history, that is already ingrained in the psyche of every single player walking out onto that field. And we go to a Man City and we play under Nuno and we beat them. Like it's clearly we can clearly take down the top teams. David can beat Goliath. It's just that sometimes it's written in the stars that there are certain games it's kicking water uphill, and Chelsea at the bridge is that for us. But we've been doing incredibly well since Conte's been with us, especially in the Premier League. This was our first loss. I would imagine from here going forward, we're going to have we'll probably even have an even better run at this point as we start to pick up steam. He understands his players better. He understands how to use the team better. We'll have the other players coming in. I think that as much as what you're saying is true, there is a hex around specific games, and this game was that for us. So the fact that we had so much optimism and goodwill built up from the first 9 games, we shouldn't let today ruin the faith in what could be. Because I'm still really excited about what this Tottenham team is going to do. I really am. And obviously that's very evident, but I really hope I hope Spurs fans can allow this to be a time of optimism,
Adam,
based on what we're seeing.
Your positivity is fantastic. I want to try and get some of that back.
You play for Ireland afterwards.
But Adam, thanks for calling in. We've got a few more callers to come, but
absolutely, of course.
Absolutely fantastic to see you again, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. But thanks
guys.
for calling in, buddy.
Cheers, Adam,
thanks
buddy.
for the positivity.
God bless them. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Cheers, buddy. Mate, someone's saying here as well, a ditcher. Today our lineup showed fear as well. I've said this so many times. It's like we set ourselves up to create other teams to think that they can can beat us, and we just don't have. And the answer to that is quite simple: is we don't have the firepower, we don't have the quality and depth of players to be able to take us forward and be more positive in our approach to games. We play with 2 defensive midfielders because we don't have the confidence in our back three. It's been like this for too long. We need some changes, and hopefully we can get something done in January. But it could be the summer for sure. But there's no doubt that we're going to run thin, and all it takes is like Harry Kane to get injured or something like this. We're going to be stuck again.
This is the thing. This is Simon. This is the thing. We again. You saw the bench today. That bench isn't very.
Against Chelsea, it's embarrassing. I'm not saying we're at the level of Chelsea at all, but I'm saying that it's embarrassing to be in the situation that we're in. But let's get Mr. Brains on, the hero.
Here we go.
My friend.
Let's get on Mr. McLeod.
Absolute hero. How you doing, buddy?
You're on mute.
Oh, no, he's on mute.
No, I'm not on mute.
Oh, you're back.
Now,
You're back.
now we can hear you.
Bro,
Nice one.
what do you
Nice
think about this today then, mate? What's going on in your mind?
First off, first things first, nice to see Brian trying his hardest to look a little bit respectable, putting on the glasses. It's nice to see.
I'm trying to calm it down as much as
nice to see him
possible.
clean his act up.
Yeah, I'm trying to be clever, but it's not working. It's not working, brother.
And the complete opposite for you, Si. Let yourself go, growing the beard out. What's going on here? All right, have a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah. I need a haircut.
Come on to batter me.
I need a
All right,
haircut.
cheers, brother.
How do we get rid of this guy?
You can see it's been tough times. So I'm pretty like the only silver lining of the game is that there's still a studio there. You know, you haven't. If we came out that 1-0,
there's a lot of holes here. There's a lot of holes. But yeah,
the dudes are gonna have to get more better. Insurance if they're gonna keep having you on.
Just better quality studio. I think it's very. Yeah, it needs to be improved.
It's got to be Cyprus. The studio's got to be Cyprus. That's what it is.
Strengthened.
Brains, what have you got to say? What do you want to talk about today regarding today's performance or whatever?
Got a few points, but it's a lot to do with reaction and kind of expectation. I love Adam, and it's cool that he was trying to put positive spins on things. But one of the things he said there was the proof of how bad things are. Like he was saying, I can't put all things down to, Levy's done some good things and stuff. But the thing that damned almost everything he said was one of the most depressing and negative statements was he said, we were destined to lose today. Destined to lose against one of your big rivals. Now, obviously, as hardcore fans, and people who have been into Spurs for years, we know that. We know that we are leagues away from Chelsea. But the reason we know why is because our owners have not invested in the squad. So how can you go? Of course, we can't go in and compete against one of our biggest rivals. Of course, we can't, because we haven't invested. Also, not just that we haven't invested, and I'm not talking about all fans, because we can get into later how the difference spreads across a fan base. But there are so many people who, because a player comes through a youth system, or because a player is like one of our own, we let them away with so much. We let players just be average and average and average. We have a team full of average players.
Yeah.
The reality is they are average players. Harry Kane is world class. Today he was world class. He holds the ball. He's now dribbling down the wing, taking on players.
Yeah, he's improved that, hasn't he, Brains?
He's advanced his game. You've seen the last three or four games. He's lighting the dying embers of a match. He's dribbling between 2 or 3 players in the box. He's trying his hardest. When you're a good player and you're on the pitch and you're playing, you maybe joined, you kind of went along to help a friend's team out and you're looking around like no one's good and you're like, fucking hell. And you're just trying to get something going. That's what Harry Kane is. He's looking around like, fuck, now I've got nothing. He makes a good pass, and then the player just runs it into the corner. Has got nothing, So it's hard. I feel so sorry for Harry Kane that he's still stuck in a team
I know.
that has nothing good around him. And Dyer came in and was good, but he's still got his legs strapped in. We're rushing players like that back, because we know. You look at that lineup today, and it's just like, what the fuck? You must be. If you have any empathy in your heart, you have to be sitting there thinking about Conte, going, what the fuck is this guy having to deal with? Like, look what he's having to put out. Look at the mishmash of players in all sorts of areas like they're not used to. Tanganga has basically created 4 goals against us in the last 3 or 4 games. It's just like, and as soon as you say there, as soon as you put it out and you're around any players, any fans who are all like loyalist fans type thing, all they want to do is go, no, he's one of our own though. Come on, you know. And it's like, fuck that. I want us to. This bringing in 2 or 3 players isn't enough. I want almost all of the team out and every single position an increase. So when I'm talking about players and buying players, I'm like you guys, like we're completely in the kind of fantasy world. We're completely in the fantasy world. We look at someone like Dybala, who should be easy for us to get right now. We should just walk and get him right now. We can't get him. Oh, but Dybala's too big a name, too great a player. It's like, dude, this is what we are. We can't even get a player who's out of contract who wants to come. We can't even get that. So it's very hard. It is extremely hard. If you've been watching this team as long as I have and as long as you boys have, it's extremely hard to know what's going on with this club and have any kind of positivity. You know what I mean? That, like, I'll leave it at that point just now, but what do you guys think of that?
So first of all, just before we come on to it, we've got a super chat here from George. Love the positivity, but not sure about blaming today's performance on a bad hoodoo. Usually teams with poor quality on the pitch have bad hoodoo, which is the point. But Brains, getting to where you are, like you said, and I want to use Dybala as a pure example, because when we were linked with him a couple of years ago, I was in Toronto and I was monitoring that like a hawk, and we went for him 6 weeks before the deadline was about to go. And obviously his image rights, which aren't a problem now, were the stumbling block, 14 million.
Yeah.
Then Manchester United tried to get it done with Lukaku going the other direction. Again, this fell through.
Yeah.
Then what we did is on the last day of the deadline, on deadline day, and I'm waiting for the story to come, and it will come, at the 11th hour, we said we're going for Dybala again. Knowing that we ain't getting the personal rights done, knowing this deal is going to take days, and it didn't go through. And it's like, oh yeah, we tried, and it fell through. Spurs fans in the chat and everything might remember, I know George you will, those years and years ago, when we had Berbatov, we went out 4-0 to Fulham in the FA Cup. We got battered. We put in a bid for Sergio Aguero, Giuseppe Rossi, Andy Carroll, and another striker, all on deadline day, way below market value, knowing that they won't come. Dybala now is doable. 6 months of his contract left. The image rights aren't a problem. It's a huge name to get in and will be a great addition to the squad. But it's like you said, it will happen again. It will happen again. And this is what it's always, and I've said it's quantity over quality. And this is what happens. And what you were saying, Braves, was exactly what I've been saying. Listen, Conte made some... People were saying he made some errors today in the selection. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. But it's because he's down to the bare bones. It's because he's down to the bare bones. There's no quality.
He's trying anything. He's trying anything. It's like, fuck me. What? Try anything. Do you know what I mean? He's about 20 minutes from just fucking kitting up himself. Like, who's got boots? Give him fucking boots. You know what I mean? He's just like, it's insane. Like, if I was him, I'd be looking at going that some of these dudes aren't even footballers yet. You know, like they're
awful.
What are you doing? You know,
we're in a win-win situation. I said this when Conte walked through the door, because he can do wonders and we do well, fantastic. But if he doesn't, hopefully majority of the rest of the fan base realise that we had another top-class manager. Whatever people think of Jose, whatever, I still think the players and a lot of things at Tottenham let him down. But we've then got Conte in, and if he gets sacked, it's going to be like, well, what on earth is going on here? Like, there's no excuse. There's no excuse whatsoever. But Conte's now in a beautiful position where he can have these like great... I love the post conferences that he has after losses and stuff, or a draw, because it's like we all know this, and finally someone's got the audacity to speak publicly about it, knowing that if he gets sacked, the fans are going to go mental, and he's going to get a payout. But if he doesn't get sacked, and he gets like a bit of an earful, he's going to get hopefully some money out of it. So the fact of the matter is, whether he walks or not, or this continues, he's still getting paid. He could walk in February by getting sacked. We'll go absolutely ballistic, as I'm sure definitely Brian would, obviously. But like, it's like, we're in a win-win with him. I've always said that. And I think now the Chelsea game, if that's what he was saying after the game, and it's very similar to the comments he made a few weeks ago, it's just like, this isn't good enough, basically. We need investment, like hurry it up. There's just no excuse for this anymore. And I don't want to see just one player in this January. Like I said, it's not like I'm playing a game of FIFA and I just want to tick boxes to say we've signed someone. One, it needs to be an absolutely priority signing and a priority position and quality. But two, it's just like the aspect of like some ambition. The ambition of like the fact, I'm just looking at the table now. If we win against Southampton, we get the 3 points obviously, and we're back up to 4th straight away. But these teams around us are very in a similar position to us. Very average looking, a mess, no consistency. So why on earth would we not want to guarantee some Champions League football, get a guaranteed 40, 60 million pound? I don't understand the logic of a businessman. You're talking about an investor and a man that supposedly knows business, who was missing out on transfers years ago, Grealish, over 2-3 million, didn't think about the consequence of not getting Champions League and therefore missing out on another 50, 60 million that we can then not put into the team. This is all the mentality I don't understand. But if we get the 3 points against Southampton, we're back and forth. But the aspect of this, we're on an international break. There is no excuse. These last 6 months of planning should have been done. The 1st of January, we should have been getting players in. There's no doubt about it. If we wanted to get Adam Traore, mate, we would have got him on the 1st of January. Okay? Yeah. Why would it be delayed any further other than the fact they're messing about with money again, right? So if we can get 2 or 3 players in, we cement 4th with some ambition to build on with Champions League football after this summer. The players who probably were going to go, like Kane, for example, might actually go, oh, okay, I see some stability here and some actual growth pattern here. Yeah. And then we push on. We get better players. But if we don't do this, we're going to be topsy-turvy with 3 or 4 players in this 4th position. And I do not want to do another Thursday night season, mate. I've had enough of it.
Conte's not here for you. Conte's not here for Europa Conference League. He's not here. And what people seem to be remembering is we had the whole Harry Kane saga in the summer. And Harry Kane matched my ambition. Yeah. We went the huge way of getting Antonio Conte in, which is a huge step, don't get me wrong, to making him feel happy. Do you think if we don't get the right players in again, and we don't get Champions League, Harry Kane's going to go, oh, it's okay, we're going to spend big this summer. It's all going to happen. Don't worry, I completely trust Daniel. We're going to this is the summer. It's this window isn't just to help Conte, it's to show Kane that yes, we're backing your ambition, and here we are.
Dude, 100%. Here's the thing, like if we end up like 6th, 7th, 8th, if we have to play fucking European Conference League, and Harry Kane doesn't go, I don't care what you fucking do. I'm either never playing football again or I'm leaving this club. Go fuck yourself. Like, if he doesn't do that, then he's insane. He's absolutely insane. I would want his family should like be getting him committed. Like, an intervention has to happen. It's like, dude, you're literally, him staying this season was literally putting his entire life.
It was horrible to see, to be honest.
It's really horrible. If you love him, I love him to death as a player. So when I was
disgusted.
When I was saying, like, look, if he wants to go, he should go, because I love him. I love him as a captain of the national team. I love him as has carried us. You have to feel sore in your heart if you want that player to stay when no one else is matching him. So bringing Conte in was like, all right, here they're trying to buy time. In this situation, what they do is, you were right. Like, 6 months. What's Paratici's job? What's their job if they don't have them ready to, as soon as the serious clubs did? They went straight. Aston Villa went and got players. Newcastle's went and getting players. Like, so it's BS if they're saying, oh no, we have to wait and see. We have to wait until the 4 days from the end, and then we start doing a little, because everyone changes. The whole game changes. Everyone gets, it's like bull fucking shit. All they're doing is it's speculate to accumulate, but you cannot do that when you run a fear-based business. That's how an accountant's mind works. He does not care about the income, and he cares solely about his expenditure. That's what they're watching. They built a stadium, and I swear to God, they built that stadium and they had it. They've got a rule fucking on their office walls saying we cannot do nothing until we're now back up to being like we're like the richest club in the fucking league or something. They have no idea from me how to make a football team, because you're right. I tell you what, if you get top four, if you made sure that Kessie was going to be with us for the end of the season, if you made sure that someone like Dybala came in, get Adama to tighten up that right side, with what we could do with wing backs actually working hard, I don't care what anyone says about his finishing and his crossing. I guarantee you, with the players that he could link with, if he's going up and down that wing, we score a lot of goals. We also take the pressure, because he could then, if some games, if something does happen to Son, he can maybe go over there. He's multi tactical. He can play in different positions. So I think if you did get that, and if you just got one solid defender, let Tanganga go and become a stronger player. Why are we holding this kid? Let him go and become a stronger player. Let Gill go and become stronger. Let them go and build up. If we want to invest in their futures, let them go and become stronger men.
Exactly.
If we can do that, if we can get just 3-4 spinal players to strengthen up the team, so that Conte doesn't go, oh God, looking at his players going, Jesus fucking Christ, what do I do? I have to play with 6 in the back. If we can just get top 4, then you can get Vlahovic, because he's not coming to any team that is not playing Champions League. Yeah. It's just not happening. If you get top 4, Vlahovic could come. But here's one of the big things I want to chat to you guys about, and it's got a lot to do with the fan base and how it's so hard for us to get things like, and for Brian, like banging his head against the wall trying to get things to change for this club and their company. The simple fact is, it's kind of like a band. All right, it's like you have passive fans of a band. You have the fans that are going to make a band big, a rock band big, are kind of like the everyone. The hardcore that believe in a band, they make a band do well for a certain amount of time, and then they kind of stick. The passive people are the ones who get angry when the guitarist leaves, because he fucking, he can't tour, he can't actually work and make the band better, so the band kick him out. The passive fans don't understand that, because they wanted to look at a good-looking guy as the guitarist. So passive fans are there. They come to a band gig to enjoy a night of music, to enjoy the experience, to be with their friends. And if you see where I'm going with this metaphor, that's the metaphor of what fans are like in music. A lot of fans go to that stadium to have the beers and the best. We're in a stadium with the best bar in Europe, like it's the experience. A lot of them are also fans that are cultural fans. So they might say they've been fans for years and years and years because their families are, but they don't look at it like, why is my team doing shit? Like, what the fuck is wrong with, they don't look at it like that. They're like, let's go every now and then to the stadium with our friends. Look at the lights, selfies, it's the experience. They're kind of like passive fans. And you have to understand, for a club like Tottenham Hotspur, if you look at the numbers, the majority of fans, for even all the top teams, are kind of passive fans. They're not hardcore. They don't get angry when we're looking at, when we can't even, for 4 games in a season, we can't even fucking compete with our rivals. And that drives us angry to the point of like wanting to break things. But with the passive fans, it doesn't. And so for other fans, you have fans who are like just really, really into the team, but they probably haven't experienced this amount of pain for this amount of time as Spurs fans. And the pain I'm talking about is lack of trophies, lack of competing, lack of being at the top echelon of the sport, which we know as a club, we know we have the facilities, we know that we should be. So that's the reason why we are always constantly angry when we can't compete with our closest rivals. They're not our fucking closest rivals then. Let's get Chelsea out of our lives then. If we're not going to ever compete with them, if we're going to settle for an owners who have our fans going into games with them saying it's a throwaway game, we're never going to win that game. Well then, fuck this. Fuck it all then. What are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing?
It's crazy.
It's insane to me. What do you guys think about that? That's how I view the fan base, just from looking at David Harris's, the Irish Hotspur, his watch along. He was getting kind of trolled by some fans there, and you can see it sometimes in all the different chats. It's like, Jesus Christ, man! Like, It's like you can see this huge divide from hardcore fans who understand the problems in the club and kind of the passive fans who are just in this the culture of supporting and the tribal nature of supporting. Oh, fuck Arsenal, fuck them. It's like, yeah, but let's look at what's actually happening, you know?
I think we're a dying breed, Brains. That's the problem. The
It's
legacy fans
frustrating.
have been put to the bottom of the pile. I see that every game. I think majority of people I see in the stadiums now are just more happy to spend time being sat there knowing that they're there and then sit on their phones for the whole entire game rather than actually watch it. Yeah, I get it, mate. It feels, like I said earlier, it feels soulless to me, man. It feels, for years, like I think it's a beautiful stadium, a beautiful arena. People talk to me, they say like, oh, I went to watch the concert there and it's absolutely brilliant. I was like, it's a fantastic arena. Yeah, absolutely. But as a football team, we're absolutely appalling. And that means something to me because it's in my soul from a very young age, watching the development of the club and the old stadium and what that meant to me. Has now been replaced by a glass circular bowl shape that has no care for the fans at all. It's more about sponsor. I felt like I'm in a TV box when I'm sat there. All the adverts, everything. I totally understand that you have to get money from sponsorships and adverts and stuff, but I was sort of sitting there thinking like, this just feels so materialistic. It just feels like we're nothing here. And my point earlier, Brian's, was it doesn't matter. We're not going to win this battle because ENIC's making money. ENIC is making money week in, week out, regardless to whether you or I sit there, whether Brian sits there, Ben Sims sits there. If we sell our season ticket, it will get sold to someone else. There's no doubt about it because
100%,
people want to buy it for the entertainment factor, if you want to call it entertainment.
And they're creating a decent company, but then fans shouldn't convolute a decent working company that buys up property, that grows in that way. They shouldn't convolute that with a team and how a team is doing, because you have to be absolutely insane to ask me to be positive with how this team's being treated. I feel for all the players. I feel for players who are going through a lack of development by this setup. Yeah. You know, I feel for players who are getting pulled out of youth systems, who are getting sold off like Dylan Marcandi. I feel like a lot of players, there's a lot of good stuff happening with our youth system, and I feel they get thrown in the deep end. I feel so sorry for Dane Scarlett. These players are getting sold short because of the way the entire structure of this company. It's got nothing to do with about building winners and a mentality of winners. Even in the under-23s, even in the Premier League 2 team, like it's got nothing to do with that. We have a serious fall of a mentality in the entire culture around our players at Spurs, and you change that by bring in Conte, right? Fine, he's a mentality monster, but you have to give him players. So he has to bring a Kessie in. He has to bring a big just genius defender in who can then give the players next to him the type of mentality he has. Romero's good, but now he's accident prone. So, but you can see when Romero is in, he does lead with that kind of bucket. Let's go for it. Let's fucking go. Yeah. So you need players like that in every position all the way through, and then Kane won't feel so like drained when he's trying to lift things up. You see us lose a goal, and Kane's like, "Come on," you know, and everyone's just like, "Oh."
You know what it is, Brains? You use the metaphor, and I'm using the metaphor now. You know, where if you're a guy or a girl, you go to a club and you meet a smoking hot girl or a smoking hot guy, and they look beautiful, but then you get to know their personality and they're horrible people. And the next time you see them, they just don't look the same. That breathtaking beauty has been taken away. That's what that stadium is. That's what our football stadium is. There used to be something there that glimmered and shined so brightly and resembled so much for us Spurs fans. It may not look as beautiful as what our new stadium does, but it meant something. It stood for something. It represented something.
Yeah, 100%.
It's gone now. It's gone. And like you said, what you said about the ban is so totally bang on the money. Listen, when you're talking about Conte even getting players, it don't even need to be behemoths. He wanted Ashley Young. Inter Milan go, there you go. He's 35, there's no sell-on fee. That I want Ashley Young. I need a left-back in or whatever position he was playing.
Knows what he's doing.
To fill that spot, Ashley Young can do a job for me.
Trust.
Exactly. Get this guy in. We need to stop. I don't care if we sign 3 30-year-olds or 31-year-olds. If Conte wants them and they're experienced and have seen it, done it, and can walk into that changing room, walk into that training ground and say, guys, look at this. I've won this. I've done this. bring those players in. I'm not asking Levy and Edict to go spend 300 million. I know we're not going to spend it. I don't expect that.
Yeah, if he wants Perisic, give him Perisic. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
He obviously wants him for a reason. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Yeah.
Get him. If Conte says, I can do things with this player, get him that player. It's not rocket science. It's just got to the point, like I said, I mean, the band metaphor is fantastic. It's just you can't keep saying, oh, the players aren't there, that it's bad selection. He's choosing these selections, whether we agree it's right or wrong, because this is what he's got.
Yeah.
This is what he's got. God,
he tells us. He tells us in, like, some people. I get annoyed when, like, speaking to people about his post and pre-match pressers. Like, he tells you straight. He's like, whenever he's asked, like, oh, so are you know, what's your chances in this game? He just tells you straight up. He's like, look, we struggle every game. We struggle every game. Why are you even asking me? I swear to you, if he was fluent English, I swear he would just be like, why are you even asking me that dumb fucking question? Look at us. We struggle. We get last minute. He said in his recent presser, we get last minute against Watford. We get last minute against Leicester. We are hanging in. We scrape through Markham. Like, what is this? We can challenge these teams. Are you mental? So that's why he's saying, like, the club must listen to me. They must hear the call. I've given them my evaluation. I've told them who I want and what I want. They must listen. Yeah. And so when we're talking about top four, it is just, for me, it's just like bonkers. It is like, and really good people, really hardcore fans, even, like, when people say, like, nah, we got it. I don't feel like anyone's being honest when they say, like, we got it. Because you might be able to look at games in hand, and yes, the situation should seem kind of easy for the potential of a team like Spurs to do well. But if you actually looking at what's going on and the couple injuries, and we can't get past a first division, second division team, like, how do we possibly expect to go up against Champions League teams who spent millions after winning the Champions League, who reinvested into their team? You know what I mean? And, like, I feel like we get, like, you know, 2-2 draw with the Liverpool, who had a player sent off. And people were like, oh, see, we can, you know, look, people came on and they played out their skin. It was like, yeah, it's a transfer window where some players are actually trying to kind of boost their careers. They have incentive to get the fuck out of the club. You know, that's why you might get something out of Delhi at that time. So I just think people get far too reactionary in situations instead of just looking at, like, here's the reality. We have games in hand, but we got to win those games in hand. You can't just hold that as a do you know what I mean? Like, we got to win these games. We got to go to Burnley and get a win. Like, that's not easy, because we struggled at that before, you know, like, and with a team where one injury and everything goes to shit, how could you possibly challenge with that, you know? Like, and we're going to rush players back. We're going to rush Son back. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't do it. It's like a boxer. When a boxer goes into a match, the boxer is always saying, I'm going to win, I'm going to win, I'm going to win. And he's listening to affirmations every day. I'm going to win, I'm going to win. But his trainer is teaching him how to, like, block all the dirty shots, all the things that he's not thinking about. The trainer is drilling that. So when you're looking at, like, that's where fans are kind of like that. They're like the boxer going, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win. But they don't have the realism of, oh, here's the uppercut coming. Because you didn't train it. You lost your mind. You're just looking at the positives. Show me some proof. I can't just go on what Adam's saying. I can't just go on the positives. The positives are, you know what the real positives are? Is that we have seen that Conte does have quality. That he is working magic with a shit show that's right there. Like, going 9 games unbeaten, you know, fair enough. We're playing with a lot of teams that are depleted. There's a lot of situations why we scrape some of those results. But how long can that last? You can't look at that as a positivity that you're going to take into the rest of the season. We go in, we don't get signings. A couple, Kane could always get injured. You know, Son can get another injury. We've got players who are so overworked and so fatigued that they're getting multiple injuries now. Multiple times out in the first half of the season. So you can't tell me that we are not a team that needs not just a few, we need a lot, you know, and we should have quality in that under 23 and the second team. We should have that quality, and we don't, and that's why Levy should fucking die. That's what I'm saying. You know,
Brains, mate, you're a superhero. We've got to move now, but thanks for calling in, brother. Nice to see you. and I'll make sure that my beard and hair are trimmed the next time
same here.
I am on.
I'm thinking of shaving tonight, actually. I'm thinking of shaving it all off tonight. But Brains, always a pleasure, brother.
Nice one, dudes. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so we've got a few super chats to go through. Do we have anyone else in the queue? Or is there no?
I think we're done.
Okay, so yeah, well, it's going to be a shorter show tonight because of transport issues. So we do sincerely apologise for it not being as long as normal. Just to go through these super chats, I'm going to go from the bottom to top. Lee, Tottenham fan UK. Lewis has to be blamed for allowing this to go on. Yes, he does. He's not exempt from this whatsoever. Let me just go through the other ones.
Well, Billy Harrick's training gown protest.
Yeah,
on
I'm saving that one till the end, so I'll deal with that one at the end. Dan, come on, you Spurs. Mount was pivotal for them getting out of our press. They waited for us to press, then pass through the gap, be it behind to Mount, and then Odoi and Ziyech, which they did time after time. George Giorgio, absolute right, Brian. I absolutely remember the mismanagement of most of those transfer windows. Most recently, Grealish. That was a classic. And then finally, Billy Horrocks, training ground protest on deadline. In the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, oh, hell yes. I'm not alone. I will be with Ryan again. There is more of us. Trust me, for deadline day, there is more of us, especially if we are here. I will be there from 9 a.m. and I'm staying till the end of the
I believe
deadline
they're
day.
giving out T-shirts and all sorts on this
Well,
one.
I wish, mate. I wish we could get some banners and stuff. I mean,
think
we've
there
got
are,
loads of
from what
banners.
I've seen.
There's other groups that have joined the
500
Leave You Out group
T-shirts.
that may have some T-shirts ready. But
Banners.
yeah, transfer deadline day, there will be a lot of people there. Mark my words, because we've got a week here to wrap up and see what we can do. But we shall see what happens. But the deadline day, there will be a big presence of us at Hotspur
Brian's
Way.
going to be wearing his yellow tie, ready.
to strangle around his neck. So moving on, but yeah, like we said, everyone, thank you for tuning. Oh, we just got one from Jory as well. Jory's just come in. Kane, Son, Lucas, Lloris, Romero, Paratici, Conte is not enough to overcome the incompetence of Levy. Winning begins after Levy. What a great way to end. So, yeah, guys, thank you for your Spurs therapy. Thank you for joining us. Wish it could have been more positive, but to wrap up, we lost once again at the Bridge, 2-0. Like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, come on, you Spurs. Leave you out.